Hi, welcome to LMP Podcasts. I am Nehana. I am a learning support mentor at LMP. I'm here today with my lovely colleagues, Vicky. Hi. And Mike.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk to you about something very personal. We're going to talk about a mistake we've made in our careers and what we've learned from it. Yeah? Now, look, I know, we all look quite perfect, don't we, really?
Absolutely.
But have you made any mistakes earlier in your career?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started work, I just simply didn't turn up.
Right.
I went through that many jobs. I basically would start a job, I would go out, I would sleep in, I would not turn up for days, and I used to get put on warnings and then other warnings, and then when I thought there was no hope, I'd just leave and just get another job. So I just didn't turn up. I just didn't have that work ethic, and I think it's something that you learn over time.
Uh-huh. Did you do it in lots of different jobs?
Yeah. I was too busy. I had a whole life, being 16, 18, 20, and it lasted right up until I was about 20,
Yeah.
I was too busy with my friends. I used to go out. I used to not have any sort of time schedule, any routines. And of course, I just didn't turn up for work. I didn't see the importance of turning up for work. And then, like bit by bit, I'd get warnings, and it just used to be days where I was hungover or stuff like that. It wasn't like weeks and weeks. It just every sort of couple of weeks I'd have a day off and things like that. And obviously in the workplace that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through lots and lots of jobs, but then with the days that I could just get another job really easy. I used to do a lot of temping. I used to do a lot of work through agencies and stuff like that. A lot of admin, customer service, call centre type of work. So I never really found difficulty in finding another job. But with hindsight, what happened was the people who started with me and who attended and who couldn't really do the jobs very well, fast forward 10 years, those people were still there.
Yeah.
And those people now, they weren't in the call centre, they were like managers or directors or something like that. And later on in life I've gone back to sell them training or something like that, and there I am face to face with somebody who was sort of started with me and then now in a position, like managerial or something like that. And it's really sort of, you think, oh, what a shame, if I'd have only just turned up, I would have kept the job. So with hindsight, what I learned from it is stick-ativity. You must have stick-ativity in a job.
Yeah,
I think that's, the person that started with you that attended, they've got a lovely job now, they're on a lot more money than me now. Just turning up and attending is key to getting places within that job role.
that's a good lesson. Do you turn up to work now then?
I do, yeah, and with that, with the time comes experience, which is why these people who started with me, because they've been in the same job, they've worked their way up, and they're now earning lots more money, doing a lot less work, and I'm extremely envious.
Yeah. Did it ever affect like future references?
Yes and no. Those jobs, you stay at that same level. If you're going to do that, you would stay at that same level. You can never quite advance because you're never there long enough to advance. So it didn't affect references, but I was always at that same level for years and years and years, and it wasn't until my 30s that I decided to go and retrain and actually get a career. Which I did. I went back to school, back to university, back to college. And got myself a career where I turned up.
Amazing. That's resilience right there. How about you, Mike?
Thinking back, I think I wish I had spoken up for myself more. I was very quiet, shy. Asked questions as well. I should have asked more questions. Told people how I felt. Really, I think that I don't think it held me back really. I went to uni and I started teaching like 30 years ago, but I think, I don't know, I wish I'd spoken up more. And you learn more that way as well, don't you? Saying what you think. I don't think I like to say, what I thought really. I thought people might not want to hear it. So that's important, isn't it? But they're things you learn as you get older and as you have experience at work, aren't they? I think, really.
Do you feel like you found your voice?
More, a lot more so, I think still I'll only speak if I feel I've got something valuable to say. So others often may speak more, but we're all different, aren't we? So I do say what I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important, isn't it? I wish I had asked more questions probably as well.
Yeah.
Being shy, we don't ask very many questions. Same
Yeah.
as in school.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn, isn't it? By asking.
Yeah. I think, like you said, you weren't sure whether what you said was worth saying. And there's sometimes, you know, when you have like interview situations where it's like a group interview, and you've always got like quieter people or the people who are like louder. I've been in those situations, and sometimes I've stopped myself from saying something because I thought, oh God, it doesn't really match what things are saying. And I remember once I took a leap of faith, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And actually, they were like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Something I said was good.
Exactly. That's when you get confidence, then,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. That taught me to like say more things basically. So for me, one thing, so I was maybe sometimes still am, I was like a people pleaser when I was younger. Either of you people pleasers?
Not particularly when I'm younger, but now, now, you know, like I'll do the work that I need to do for work. But when I was younger, I really didn't care. I didn't used to attend, so, you know, I really didn't care that much. It wasn't until late 20s that I decided, oh my gosh, I'm still at this same level that I started when I was 16.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until then that I started to think, right, to be more work focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, a people pleaser in what way though? That's like doing my work.
Yeah, so, well, I was doing a role, and I was not getting paid very much at all, but I used to take shed loads of work home with me as well. I was writing courses, and this was before I'd done any teacher training, any kind of like degree in it, before I even knew I wanted to become a teacher. I was writing these trainings, I was doing the quality. And quality is quite like, you know, you get paid quite well when you work in quality. My boss very much believed, and you should be working every hour of the day. So I used to be working till midnight because I'd have that much paperwork to take home. But I would just say yes. And actually then, eventually I got a different job. And I used to talk to a lot of people. So, you know, it's very much a career where you talk to a lot of people. And I had told somebody about it, and they were like, you know, you are only respected when you know your worth and you know your value. Anyway, I went back to my old employer then because I was looking for a job, and he had said, oh, well, actually come and have a chat with me. He probably thought, oh, I can get it for cheap again. But I negotiated. I was like, I will only come to work for you for this much, which comes with confidence, you know, and actually realizing that you are good at what you do, and you know, and just having that confidence. Like sometimes it's good to negotiate, but like I said, I think you get older, you know,
I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think I was sort of a yes man, as they say often, because I didn't like to say no. But then if you haven't got capacity, the scope or time to do something, then you can let others down, can't you? I'm not talking about your experience, but my own, you say yes too often. It's better to say I haven't got time to do that, but I can try and help as a team to do that.
That's a good
because
point.
then you can let others down if you say you can do it and then you can't. So it's good to say what your capacity, what you can do at that specific time.
And I think the things that we've talked about here are all very typical of like when you're younger. So you might think you can just not attend work or turn up late all the time, or you're going to say yes to everything because actually you're scared that like if you don't say yes, you might lose your job.
Exactly.
You know, or you're shy and you don't think what you're saying is worth. Just because you're 16 doesn't mean that what you're thinking is not worth saying out loud, and asking for help. Do you feel like you have learned from all those things and advanced your career then?
Absolutely, but it took me a long time to learn. As I said, I was like, you know, in my late 20s before I suddenly realised, hang on a second, I'm still doing the same job, the same pay scale as I was when I was like 18. You know, what's gone wrong? And it took me till then to realise, so it was far too long in my opinion.
Maybe, as you said, because it was temporary work, it didn't follow you on your reference, but if it hadn't been temporary, then, you know, they may have.
Well, I did have permanent jobs as well, but it was exactly the same. It did take me a long time to learn. But as well, saying no is a skill in itself. That's something that, you know, I didn't learn till very much later on, saying no.
You don't like to, do you? But we can let others down if we say we do something.
And say we can help in this way, but not do the whole thing. So, guys, I hope that you will take our experiences on board and say that we all have the same experiences when we start out at work. But things get better, resilience is there, and you will always learn from your mistakes. And that's the best thing to do, is learn from your mistakes. Learn from our mistakes. Catch you later.